All right, special guest, are you ready? All right, we're gonna have to do a little shifting to get this person in, but I'm very excited to have them. Okay. I think we're gonna have to back you up just a little so we can fit them in. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you. Well, I've been working in my garden.
So, if you haven't ever seen us together out on the street, this is my mom, Kara.
I'm going to take my hat off so you can see me.
There you go. So, Kara, how long have you been gardening?
Well, my first garden was about this big when I was a little girl. But I've been gardening, I guess, all my life.
And how long have you been gardening here in New Paltz?
Well, let's see. We moved to New Paltz 25 years ago. And I started gardening here pretty close to 25 years ago. And I've had different gardens in different locations around the community garden. And sometimes I stopped gardening because I was busy with other things. But this is my best garden, and I like it because I'm sharing it with you.
Oh, thank you.
We have a shared garden.
So what do you think in your garden, what is your favorite vegetable to grow? Because you have both vegetables and flowers, right?
Well, I think I really love the tomatoes the best. I really love cherry tomatoes and great big ones that you can slice and put on a piece of bread, and little ones that you can put in your salad.
Yes, and there's nothing like local tomatoes, but there's especially nothing like homegrown tomatoes.
Well, next week we'll have to sing that song.
We'll have to sing the tomato song. This might be a hard one.
Yeah.
What's your favorite flower in your garden?
Well, that is an impossible question to answer because I have spring flowers that I love, summer flowers that I love, and I love to grow flowers indoors in the winter, so it's really hard to answer. But right this minute, I would say that your zinnias, which are right here,
Yes,
are the most beautiful thing. And then at that end of the garden, maybe we'll look.
Yeah.
I like flowers that provide food for bees.
That's very important.
So bees are called pollinators because they carry pollen from plant to plant. And they're very important, as Margaret told you, for food production and for production of all the flowers. The reason
flowers and plants
right.
and vegetables and fruit.
Right. So the pollinators are important, and it's important that we plant things that they like. And this garden is full of pollinators. Yeah.
All right, so shall we take them around? We're going to take you around the garden now and show you some of the things that we have. Who have we got a comment from? Charlie has homegrown tomatoes just last weekend from the Miller family garden. Yay! We love homegrown tomatoes. Maybe at the end we'll share the homegrown tomato song, because we have 3 plots here at the garden, and we're gonna finish in the plot that has our tomatoes. So maybe we will get the tomato song. Maybe. All right, so shall we take them around the garden?
Let's talk about what we're going to look at, because
Yeah.
I think we're going to look at 3 different kinds of flowers mostly.
Yeah.
Margaret has a lot of squash plants, so she's growing pumpkins and butternut squash and baby pumpkins. And so it's always fun to look at the squash flowers because they're big and the bees love them.
Yes.
And we're also going to look at sunflowers because they're the tallest plants in
So we're
our
going to go
garden.
from very short and close to the ground to very high up in the sky.
Right. And then maybe we'll look at the pollinator part of the garden.
Okay. Hi everyone, we're going to do a slightly different Storytime Recap today. As you can see, we are not in our normal location for doing virtual Storytime. We're actually down in my garden plot at the community garden. The pollen is crazy, my nose is going wild. We were having some connectivity issues when we tried to do the second part of Storytime today, which was taking a tour around the garden and seeing some of the flowers and plants that I have. So we're gonna do this, we're gonna record it, and then we'll upload our Storytime Recap, and hopefully you can see the tour there. So I'm actually gonna take this camera. Can you give us a little wave? This is Kara. So we're gonna start off.
Oh, look.
Oop. It's hard to get on camera, but we have so many things that come and visit our garden here, such as monarch butterflies, which are always so pretty to see. And I promise next year, Monarch, I am going to have some milkweed in here for you.
That butterfly is enjoying the nectar.
Oh, yes.
Flower.
All right, so where would you like to start, Kara?
Well, this was a great place to start.
Yeah.
This is a zinnia patch.
Oh, we also have a bee enjoying the flower.
There's a great big one right here.
A nice big bumblebee. All right, so what can you tell us about zinnias?
Well, first of all, they're so colorful and so beautiful. They grow really well down here in the garden. And one of the things I like about them is you can cut them and take them home and put them in your house to look at. And they make more flowers. So they are what they call cut and come again. And so we love to plant zinnias because they're so colorful. And they are good for all those insects that are pollinators. And you learned about pollinators from the book that Margaret read. They're really important in terms of making sure that we have food to eat, and they are responsible for pollinating everything that creates fruits and food.
All right, so
let's look at your squash flowers because they're full of pollinators.
yes, we have some good. Oh, I think I have a squash flower that has a bug in it. Whether it's a bug I want in there, oh, it's not. But so this is a yellow squash flower. And actually in there is something called a striped cucumber beetle, which back early on when I was planting my garden, they ate all my squash leaves and my plants almost died. So they're not my favorite bug.
Do we want to pick a squash?
Oh yeah, we could pick a squash. There you go. So this is yellow squash. And they're very yummy if you...
There's the flower part.
Yeah. So a bee came along and pollinated the flower, and there grew the fruit or vegetable.
Yeah.
So
well, why don't you look at some of your other squash
yeah.
flowers?
So over here, something you'll recognize, miniature pumpkins. And they kind of also have, let's see if I can find a pumpkin flower for you. They also have this beautiful yellow flower. And I have, so many have started to come through all of a sudden. So we're very excited about that. So we have little pumpkins, and let's see if we can spot them in here. The leaves do a really good job at protecting the plants, but in here, not quite ready to be picked yet, are some big pumpkins. Let's see if I can put my hand in there to show you some bigger pumpkins. And they also have yellow flowers. A lot of squash have yellow flowers. So, and that's pretty much what I have in my garden this year. I have a lot of squash. I'm very excited. Here are some butternut squash, and you can see that this one is a little younger because it still has green on it. So I think we're going to move into Kara's part of the garden, where she has so many things.
I'm picking a peck of pickled peppers. Not really. But these are called shishito peppers, and you can see that they have a small white flower. And everywhere there's a white flower, I expect I will be able to pick a pepper in a couple of days. And these peppers, oh, here are more.
Are these spicy peppers?
These are not very spicy. These are very mild peppers. They're not hot, but they're very delicious.
Can you show us some of the other flowers in your garden?
Yes, well, I think you should see this sunflower. We have very tall sunflowers this year. They grew from sunflower seeds that I think birds dropped here. And this one, the petals are gone, and the birds have eaten most of the seeds. So, can you hold these for me for a minute? So, the seeds are here, and they'll turn black and white the way you've seen sunflower seeds. But the birds actually come and land and pull those out and crack them open and eat them. And so we have lots more coming. That one I would say is at least 12, 14 feet tall. We have some of the tallest sunflowers down here, I think.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite flowers. You asked about what my favorites are. These are nasturtiums. And this is a plant that they get a lot bigger. You can grow them in a pot at home. And you can pull the leaves and the flowers off and eat them. You can put them in a salad. They're kind of spicy, but very delicious and very pretty.
There you go. All right, so to finish off, I want to show you some of the flowers over here. And maybe Kara can tell us a little bit, maybe what they are. Because we've got some bees enjoying them.
I love these blue flowers. This is called borage, and it's an herb. And the bees just love borage. And it's something that Native Americans and people long ago used as a medicinal plant. It has, good medicinal properties. This is called coneflower. This is a big favorite. Look at that nice fat bumblebee going round and round, putting his little, he's washing his face, but getting nectar out of that flower. You can see why it's called a coneflower, because this is almost like a cone. And if you look at his back, well, some bees on their back legs, they have little baskets. They call them baskets where they put the pollen. He's busy feeding.
Well, thank you for showing us your garden.
Oh, my pleasure. I like to encourage everybody to have a garden, because if you have books and you have a garden, you have everything you need to be happy.
All right, so I will very quickly, I'm going to walk back over to where we were doing story time today. And once again, I apologize for our connectivity issues once we started doing the tour part of the garden. But we're going to put these down. I did want to show you the books we read for story time today. So the first book we read was The Reason for a Flower by Ruth Heller. It was read with the permission of Penguin Putnam Books for young readers. This one I got from the library, and it is super informative and super fun and has great illustrations about what flowers are and what they do. Our second book that we read was Flower Garden by Eve Bunting with illustrations by Kathryn Hewitt. And this one was read with the permission of Harcourt Books. One that we didn't get to today, but I am definitely going to read next week, is My Hair is a Garden. And this one has beautiful illustrations and a beautiful message. So we'll definitely be getting to this one next week. So thank you to everyone who joined in for story time. Let's see if I can turn it around and get my face in there. Thank you to everyone who joined in this week for story time. I think if we do another garden themed week, which I would love to do, there are so many more books I would like to share with you. I think we're going to do it back home where I have a better connection. I love having my garden as the background, but unfortunately don't have the best connection down here. So I hope everyone has a wonderful, wonderful weekend. While you cannot visit the community gardens right now as a visitor, you can walk in the nature sanctuary. So the path to that is just out here. And if you walk along, you can go back into a nature sanctuary and you can look at everyone's gardens from outside, and I encourage you that you do. People have beautiful, beautiful gardens that they've been working on all summer. So stay safe, and I'll see you next week for story time. Bye.